Hi, I'm Shaul. Recently I stumbled across a video posted by Julia Trotti in which she compared three 35mm primes made by Nikon. Those are modern primes, f1.2, f1.4 and f1.8, all made for the mirrorless Z mount. She arranged a shoot outside featuring a model, quite a lovely model. And she compared the renderings of these three lenses. It struck me that two of those renderings look almost identical. And the third one really sticks out, to my eyes at least. In two of them, the model seems to blend into the background, although the background was quite distant from the model, so there's a clear separation in terms of sharpness. However, the third photograph kicks back at you in a way. It has a more dimensional rendering. In that photograph, the model seems to stand out from the background. You can appreciate her weight, her volume. I have tried to showcase this effect, but I haven't always been successful. You need a certain setting. I came to the conclusion that in order to emphasize the dimensional rendering of certain lenses, you have to put your subject in front of a pattern, an irregular pattern that somehow makes it more obvious. Since those three photos show the difference in such a clear way, I took the liberty to grab a frame from a video. Of course, I'm giving her the full credit for taking those photos, and I will link video down in the description below. And I'm not telling you which of the photograph stuck out to my eyes, which one looks different from the others. I will let you judge for yourselves. I will put up a survey also in the description box below. And I would ask you to please give it a minute and fill up the little survey. I'm very curious to know whether I'm the only one who sees this. The interesting thing is Julia Trotti completely ignored this difference in rendering. And I can't really explain why. In order to compare those three lenses, Julia Trotti had to really enlarge the photographs, look at them at the pixel level. She came to the conclusion that you get what you pay for, essentially. She liked the most expensive lens, the best, and the least expensive one, the least. Of course, when enlarging those photographs, you can see why. The most expensive lens is also the cleanest. It doesn't suffer from any visible aberrations. It controls chromatic aberrations quite well, better than the other two lenses. It is crisper, more detailed. It has maybe less distortions. The specular highlights are rounder and cleaner, are more uniform. However, those aspects of the rendering are not really visible when you look at the full-size photograph. At full size, those photos look quite clean, all of them. You cannot notice any optical aberrations, any flaws. Maybe there is a slight difference in the rendition of color, but what really sticks out, to my eyes at least, is the volume given to objects in one of them. I will let you judge. There are a few reasons why Giulia Trotti neglected to mention this rather obvious difference in rendering. One of them is she might not see it. You see, our brains are wired in different ways. Not everyone is susceptible to this dimensionality seen in some photographs and missing in others. I had a long discussion with one of the viewers of this channel, who admittedly cannot perceive this difference in rendition, this effect of three-dimensionality coming through in the two-dimensional representation of scenes. And I'm sure he's not alone. According to previous surveys, there is a portion of the population, about 10 to 15%, who just doesn't see this three-dimensional effect. Then maybe she can see this effect, but she's agnostic about it because it's not a clear preference to her to showcase this dimensionality in photographs. Maybe she prefers the slightly flatter rendering of conventional modern lenses. The next possibility is she does not have a clear concept of dimensionality. See, the extreme flatness of rendering is quite a new phenomenon. It's only been an issue, to me anyway, in the last 10 years or so. The contrast transmitted by photographic lenses became so strong, where the relation between contrast and spatial frequency was essentially lost. Nowadays, almost every new lens can transmit very high contrast, even at very high frequencies. So small details get the same attention as larger surfaces. The concept of dimensionality has not been adequately explored yet, let alone clearly defined or given a conventional name. And in our society, it is quite a known phenomenon that we cannot relate to a concept unless it is well defined, unless it becomes a convention and given a name. Everyone knows what we are talking about. The next reason why Giulia Trotti might have ignored this difference between the renditions is that she has a clear financial interest in promoting expensive, high-end gear. But I don't think she's that cynical. I don't think anyone is. Giulia Trotti specifically is known to be quite honest. She has integrity, otherwise she wouldn't have that kind of following and that kind of sway over the photographic community. A few months back, she even made a video about why expensive lenses are not always better than cheaper options, which was quite an enjoyable view. However, after giving it some more thought, I think I get it. You see, Giulia Trotti and me are both photographers. We both use a camera and a lens in order to make photographs. We happen to use similar cameras and similar lenses. And we both like shooting in available light. However, the things we do are rather different. I'm not saying one is better than the other. It's just completely different approaches to photography. Giulia Trotti shoots constructed moments. Like a painter, she starts from a clean slate. She can choose a setting. She can choose the color balance, the color harmony in shots. She can control the light. She can control the differences in distance between the subject and the background, the subject and the camera, in order to achieve the aesthetic that she's after. In that sense, she relies on a solid graphic design that supports her final vision, the final result she aspires to achieve. Giulia Trotti models her aesthetic aspirations after the professional photography common in printed magazines and in publication. This aesthetic is very clean. It has to be clean of any grain. It has to contain most of the tonal range in the scene within the limits of the camera's dynamic range. Subject separation is important in this genre. So the viewer can immediately recognize the subject. There's always only one subject, one prominent subject in photographs that the viewer's eyes are automatically directed to. Her photography is essentially descriptive. She shows what things look like, what the model looks like, what clothes she's wearing look like. And in order to faithfully describe appearances, she needs a lens that is almost perfect, that faithfully translate the three-dimensional scene into a two-dimensional representation that is accurate down to the smallest details. So she scrutinizes the rendering at a high enlargement. So all the details can be visible to her. So she can critically judge whether the rendering is accurate, clean enough for her purposes, even if the average viewer would never see tiny flaws that might appear in those photographs. What I do when I photograph is different. I shoot found moments that are not posed. I have little control over the conditions, over the settings. All I have is my legs and my eyes and my brain that tries to anticipate the choreography of a scene, to select exactly the right moment to press the shutter button and capture a photograph. I am much more interested in the subjects of my photography. I'm not so bothered about the lighting, about subject separation. In fact, I prefer to include a lot of context in my photographs. So I don't need such a difference between subjects that are in focus and subjects that are out of focus. I try to make everything in my photographs recognizable, contain even a little bit of detail. I'm not so interested in cleanliness. I try to communicate what I see, what I experience from my own point of view. I try to communicate life, if you will. Communicating emotions sometimes demands some dirt, some grit in my photographs. The eye needs something to bite on, exploring an image. So sometimes I resort to adding more noise, more grit, more grain. A viewer of this channel asked me to dedicate a video to light in photography, but I'm afraid I'm not the right person, not the right photographer to discuss this. I simply don't see light. Well, I see it, but it is not an important consideration for me. I'm more interested in the subject, in the relation, in the choreography. I'm more interested in conveying the experience, of course, through my own eyes, through my own point of view, through my own sense of timing. Light is just a part of the scene. Of course, you cannot make any photographs without light, but I don't use it intentionally. It is just a part of the context, a part of the background, if you will. Sometimes it supports the composition, sometimes it hinders it. But in any case, in my work, it is not an important part. However, dimensionality is an important part of my photography. I look for it because it makes the people I shoot look more true to life. It enhances emotions. It gives the whole image some weight, some authority, some volume. Please take the time to look at the description below and click the link to that little survey. I'm quite curious to know whether you can see what I saw in that example. Anyway, I think that will do for today. If you like the contents of my channel, if you wish to support it, please consider buying me a coffee. There's a link in the description below. It's a nice gesture between gentlemen. Thank you for watching and see you again soon.